So today I wanted to talk about fear, but more specifically, achieving fearlessness. So for me, first of all, being fearless does not mean having zero fear. I think that's a misconception that like a lot of people have. I think when you hear fearless or fearlessness, people think, oh, you have zero fear, but I think that's incorrect. To me, it's essentially just about not allowing fear to dictate your actions, your thoughts, or your behavior. Essentially making sure that shackles, making sure that fear doesn't have its shackles on you like a lot of people do, like I have and still do currently. But and I think a lot of people go in situations trying to eliminate fear, but that's not really going to work because you can't get rid of an emotion like that. You can only manage it, and a lot of situations, fear is always going to bucket you every time. It'll try you every single time. Fear will never just let you have it. It'll never just let you get away. It will buck you. It will try you. It will test your honor every single time. So trying to eliminate something like that is just kind of wasted effort and a waste of time, in my opinion. And I'm speaking from experience because I used to try to do that. I used to try to eliminate fear. I believe that if I got rid of it entirely, that I could do anything I want. And I always was stuck because I was like, why does my fear keep coming back? Because it's supposed to. It's not going to go away. But, damn, excuse me. Essentially, fearlessness is the ability, in my definition, this is what I believe it is. Fearlessness, as I've come to know from experience in my own personal definition, is the ability to rest in fear without allowing it to overwhelm you. Fearlessness is a learned trait, a learned behavior, and it's not something that everyone really understands. When you're in a position of fear, when you're doing something that makes you fearful, when you're scared, trying to eliminate that feeling isn't really going to do anything for you, at least unless you're like a Billy Badass, but I'm not. I'm only speaking what helped me in my experience. Whenever I tried to eliminate fear, it came back stronger and stronger and more ravenous and more abhorrent. It just grew into a monster whenever I tried to push it away. And each time it came back, it just got more and more powerful and more overwhelming. But it wasn't until I realized that fear will always be there and that by pushing it away, you're giving it power. When you allow fear to wash over you, kind of like imagine being in a car wash. When you're in your car and you're going to the car wash, are you fighting the whole thing? No, it's an experience. Imagine it like that. Fear is a car wash and you are the car. Instead of trying to avoid it or dodge every, wiper blade or dodge every little wiping thing and just trying to get your way out of it, if you just go through it without allowing it to overwhelm you, it's a much easier process. And I get it. Fear is a very scary emotion. It's something that a lot of people don't like dealing with. It's something that a lot of people don't like feeling. But the only way to become fearless, the only way to achieve a fearlessness state, which is, a divine state, if you will, or whatever, you have to learn that fear is a part of the process. It's a part of the equation. And it's not something that can be pushed away. It's something that needs to be used. It's something that is necessary for growth, something that is necessary for evolution. So I'm mainly just kind of talking about it so that I can understand it more, because I didn't always understand that. I believe that fear was something to be destroyed, something to be annexed, something to be eliminated. But by doing all those things, I just realized all I did was I gave fear strength. I gave it power. I gave it the tools to combat me because I was constantly pushing it away. Pushing fear away just makes you weaker. But when you kind of just submit, when you kind of just allow it to be there and not overwhelm you, when it bucks and you don't budge because you know it's just bluffing, when it comes at you right in front of your face and you're just kind of like, okay, do what you're gonna do, it realizes that you're not scared of it. I'm gonna geek out a little bit here, but it kind of reminds me, if any of you have watched it, the movie, I haven't seen the original, but the 2017 one, when Pennywise realized that people were not scared of it, it lost its power. When, the little girl was, held up in his base or whatever, and he's like doing everything he can to terrify her, and she's just not giving in. There wasn't anything he could do to her because she wasn't scared. He lost his power. Pennywise was a being of fear. He thrived on it. When she didn't try to push him away or fight him, when she just accepted it and sat in the fear without allowing it to overwhelm her, she won. it lost its power. And that's a really good analogy because it's so true. It's kind of crazy the stuff we see in movies and TV shows that can really be applied to real life, because I didn't even think about that until just now, but I digress. I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah, fearlessness is the state of being in that fear and not allowing it to overwhelm you. You can't let it inside. You can't allow fear to perform osmosis on you. You don't want it to go inside. You can walk through it. You can be inside it. Well, not be inside it. You can walk through it. You can be out in it. But when you start to let it pour in, when you allow it to go inside, that's where there's problems. So you have to learn, you have to develop the skill of being comfortable with fear. And I think the people who the people who do that and accomplish that, one, it takes them decades of experience. This is not an overnight thing we're talking about, like most of the things on this channel. This is not do this one time and you're done. We're talking about, lifelong practices, things that you do in your daily life, or at least, try to incorporate more into your life in general. But I struggle with fearlessness because it's something I want to be. I don't need to be some bravado Billy Badass. I just don't want to be scared of regular life, of regular situations, of things I want to do that fear won't allow me to do, But you essentially have to also recognize that when you feel fear, that's whatever higher power you want to claim, it's testing you. It is. I know people say that all the time. People are like, oh, blah, 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 but it's true. It's genuine. Because, when you think of your worst moment, the worst moment you've ever had in your entire life, you may still currently be in it. But for most of us, it's past. I've had a lot of moments, a lot of stacked on moments that just seem to get worse and worse and worse. Each moment I was like, man, this is the worst moment. That's the worst moment. And yet here I am outside of those moments. Clearly I handled them. In that moment, I didn't think I could handle them, but I did. And now I'm here, and now they're a thing of the past. And that is essentially the key to fearlessness. Knowing that whatever moment you are currently experiencing will eventually become a thing of the past. We can't overcome fearlessness. We can't overcome fear because we believe that this fear is an eternal moment. But once you recognize that every moment is temporary, including this moment where you are filled with fear, you can just essentially, what I like to call, you're living in the end. And I know a lot of other people have mentioned this. I'm not the first one. I don't have any credits, but I think maybe people have heard that term before, where you're living in the end. I'm not saying just blow off your experience. I'm not saying become a wall of emotion. I'm just saying recognize the moment for what it is as a temporary situation that you're going through, and just understand that when you push fear away, it comes back 100 times stronger, and that what you really truly want to do is bask in the fear, let it wash over you without becoming you, And I think that's definitely what's begun to help me. I've been practicing it a little bit, and it definitely helps. But, we have these terrible times. We have these things where you're so racked with fear, either in a situation or a person or an environment, we just can't seem to get past it because we're pushing. But, another term, what you resist, persist. Pushing, and pushing, and pushing, and pushing. Eventually it's going to bounce back on your ass, and you don't want that. You want an antithesis to fear, which is, ironically, the embracing of fear. I know it sounds crazy, but if you want to be fearless, if you want to be someone who is unshakable, untouchable, a rock, you have to allow fear to enter you and then transmute it around you and not let it become you. I know it sounds like babble. I don't really know any other way to explain it, but it's true, And another key thing is just, what I said before about reminding yourself that every moment is temporary. There's no reason to allow fear to overwhelm you, because whatever you're experiencing, one day, 10 years from now, it will be in the past. You can essentially just skip to the end and be done with it instead of basking in the horrible feeling that you feel now. But, to fear something, to allow fear to overtake you, is to believe that this moment is eternal. But every single one of us who is past the age of 1 year old knows that no moment is eternal. So basking in that fear in the moment and letting it overwhelm you is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. I'm not judging anyone. I'm not knocking anyone. I'm saying that, as like a joke. I know fear is a very real thing, but it is kind of funny when you think about it. We see each moment as lasting forever, but it doesn't. They come and they go. And so should fear. But that's enough. I just wanted to get this out there because it was kind of rolling around in my head. It's a little all over the place. like most of these videos, but I just really had that thought and I really wanted to get it out there. So if you enjoyed it, cool, like, comment. I would love to chat in the comments. If you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, that's also cool. Still, like, dislike, comment. I would love to have a conversation about anything and everything. But yeah, that's it for this one. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.